We saw a stellar performance from USA Swimming in the Tokyo Olympics. 30 medals, including 11 gold. And we are pleased to be joined by one of the stars of the team, 4-time Olympian and 10-time medalist Allison Schmitt, joining us now. Congratulations, Allison, on bringing home the silver medal in the 4x200 free and the bronze medal in the 4x100 free. Allison, I have to ask, where are you keeping your 10 Olympic medals these days?
Well, my 2 from Tokyo are still in. We got a fanny pack in Tokyo as our uniform packaging, and that's why I kept them in a mask in my fanny pack to carry them around easier so people can see them.
Oh my gosh, Schmitt, it's so good to see you. Congratulations on your swims.
Thank you. It's great to see you.
Yeah, you know, you've been very open about your mental health issues. You've even talked about it on our show a little while ago. What are your thoughts about with Simone Biles in Tokyo? And were you able to give any advice with what you've gone through?
I commend her for listening to herself. I obviously am not a gymnast and I have never heard of the twisties. So actually reading up on that and finding out about that was knowledge to me. I mean, as athletes, we train for Olympic athletes. We train for the Olympics, and it happens once every 4 years. In this case, once every 5 years. And to have her train for that amount of time and then be courageous enough to step down and acknowledge that she was not well enough to compete at the time was, I think, very courageous. I know that it's a big topic in the world, and I know it affects way more than athletes, but as an athlete, I think a lot of people look at athletes as superheroes and superhuman, but to have the world recognize her as a human being is something that is tremendous, and I think is making not only talk of mental health, but a mental health movement.
And Allison, I met you 2 years ago here on We Need to Talk, and you talked about your experiences. And when Simone came out with this and was talking about her triggers, you were competing. As you were hearing this through the Olympic Village, I mean, did you have to check on yourself? And were there things where you had to protect yourself and your own mental state?
My heart definitely felt for her. And I think I've learned, and I'm still learning, that to check on myself, I don't think that's the easiest thing. And I think it's something that we can talk about and we can help each other. I have learned to reach out easier. I think I know myself, knowing I like to isolate and I don't like to ask for help. So reaching out was a big step for me. And yes, I did have to do that a few times, even in Tokyo during the competition.
Schmitt, let's go to your first Olympics back in 2008. That was my 5th and last. You were a teenager, and I distinctively remember being put in a room with you and Elizabeth Beisel in the Olympic Village, who was also a teenager. And you guys were crazy, loud, full of energy, and I was like, I'm out. I got to get a different room. These guys are crazy. How has your role changed in your first Olympics compared to your 4th Olympic Games in swimming?
I think you just said the words right there. We were just crazy teenagers. Nothing could stop us. We had all the energy in the world. And as I've gotten older, I've realized I had to contain my energy a little more and be more decisive on where I'm putting that energy. Because as we get older, we all know that we don't have as much energy as we used to.
Allison, outside of the pool,
Very true.
outside of the pool, Allison, so what was it like at this Olympics in Tokyo during a pandemic? So what were some of the odd challenges that you just had to deal with moving around and not having fans and things like that?
It was very challenging and very different than any meet that I've been to, any international meet I've been to. I commend Tokyo and Japan of putting together an amazing event. I think that was, I was amazed at the cleanliness that the country had, of all the support that the Japanese people gave us, even though there weren't fans. For me, it really hit me. I knew there were no fans going into it. We all knew that. But it really hit me walking out for the 4x100 freestyle relay, for the prelims relay, and walking out and seeing lights. I love the lights. I love the crowd. I love the energy, the people, the noise. I love all that. And I walked out, there were lights and no people. There was an empty stand straight ahead. So for me, that was really difficult. After that race, I actually remember looking at Natalie Hines, who was also in the relay, and looking down on the floor, it says Tokyo 2020. I've never noticed that at any other Olympics. And I looked at her and said, well, we're at the Olympics. So it was very different, but for the circumstances that Japan was given, I think they put on a very great Olympics. And I'm grateful that we had the opportunity to be able to compete.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that you had a great experience, and you made us proud back here as we were all watching from America. Allison, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Allison.